Let us know. But thank you very much for coming today. Thank you very much. I started this Motivate community thing many years ago because I wanted to share things. I wanted to share some things, perhaps sharing about making money, because making money can actually be incredibly simple. And I also wanted to share some personal development stuff. When I first studied NLP and coaching, I wanted to share that, but there was no one to share it with. So we started this Motivate community. And it started to become a wonderful platform where we could share different speakers, share topics, perhaps share a seminar or come together and go deep on a subject. I'm not sure if that's my Australian boy, Denny, in the house, but is that Australian, Denny? If so, I met this gentleman on day one in 2012 in Shanghai. And him and some people here have been to many of the workshops we've done in Shanghai. But the last time I was doing workshops in Shanghai, well, not quite the last time. The last couple of times I've done little workshops on money. I gave little talks on money, and some people found it quite, I'm not sure the word, but some people may have been offended by it. Some people may have been triggered by it. And I hope today that you guys can be triggered and pissed off in some way, shape, or form. Or I can hope you can have some insight somewhere along the way, because this subject money is obviously crucial. Your average person and all of us are spending over 40 hours a week making money. Isn't it about time we get together and talk about it? Now, the gentleman we have talking about it tonight, Mr. Tapan, I met him at a workshop where I was talking. Half of the room was coaches, and I talked about money. I can't remember the question, but I'll never, ever forget the response. I asked this question about money, and the whole room, about 30 people, went silent. Dead silent. G'day, Danny. So I asked the money question, and the whole room went dead quiet. This one person stood up. And went, yeah. And he was a bit, he was moved around a little bit, and I'm like, yes, please share. And Mr. Tapan here stood up, and he shared his perspective on this topic. Now, this topic that I raised was against the norm, and the whole room went quiet, but Tapan actually stood up, seconded, and he went on. And he started sharing with the group, and he went on. I think I gave the microphone to him for a good 10, 15 minutes, and he went on. And it was kind of pushing us to recognize that the reason we weren't achieving financial success was really because of the actions we were taking. And although it's very well for us to say, well, I didn't go to a private school, or I didn't have training with money, I didn't take whatever, Tapan was able to push 20, 30 people in that room to have the lights come on a little bit. So it's with great pleasure tonight that I invite this gentleman here, Tapan. Tapan's a successful coach. I really, really want to hear his insights and what he has to share about money. So thank you very much for stepping up, Tapan. Really appreciate you coming on tonight.
It's a pleasure, Adrian, and all you lovely people out there. Today is a beautiful day. It wasn't always like this. The year was 2002. I was in Shenzhen, and there was another epidemic called the SARS. I had just gone bankrupt. In India, we didn't have any exit laws then. I didn't know what to do. I had a wife, a 7-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old son, parents getting older. And I was poorer than the poorest person on this planet. I couldn't earn $1,000 a month. How was I going to pay millions of dollars to the bank and creditors? I sat there on the streets of Shenzhen. It was cold. I remember it was very cold. And I thought about everything. How is my going to an engineering school? How is my going to an MBA school ever going to get me out of this mess? And here I come to China to start a trade business and SARS hits me. Probably I should jump off a tall building. By the way, Shenzhen has many tall buildings. And I thought about it and I said, no, Tapan, bring in everything that you know about money and let's give it a shot. Adrian, I invite you to, there are so many books out there that teach you how to make money. I'm not going to talk of any of that. Yeah, Adrian, would you like to share something about this? How books are there, people don't relate to those books, they don't do anything for you?
Yeah, oh no, there's some good stuff in the books. The thing that gets me is that there are so many books out there on making money, but only a portion of them are made by people that actually understand the money. And some of those books are written by people that's made money, but they haven't understood their own psychology. So if you could take someone like Elon Musk, he's had a lot of business success, but does he know how to invest money? Possibly. He's a bit crazy. He's 1 in a million. So I love his book, but after reading his book, there's still a lack on small steps that I can take and implement. And it's amazing how many people read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, yet they're still in the rat race. And no matter how many books you read about the rat race or financial freedom, no matter how many books you get, you can only gain knowledge. It's not till you actually apply that. And a lot of those books are missing how to apply knowledge. See, some of those readers might piss me off a little bit.
You know, it boils down to what is the kind of relationship you have with money. The guy over there in 2002, he didn't know what to do. But the guy here in 2020 knows that the secret lies in the relationship with money. So I'm not going to go into the technicalities and how to make money investing and buying stocks and all of that, probably later. But today I'm going to touch on the soft side, the relationship with money. What is the kind of relationship do we have with money right now? Which brings us to the first slide, Adrian, if you like. And so let's talk about the relationship with money. Can you have relationship with something that's not alive or living? I think we can. So let me ask you a question. Who doesn't like more money? Is there anybody in this room that doesn't like money or more money? Well, I'm guessing that everybody likes money, but what is it that it takes? What is our current relationship with money? Is money something bad? Is money something good? Is money something that doesn't buy you happiness? Is money something that makes you evil? What is that story you have built around money in your head? Which of those societal values have you inherited? We're going to work through that today. And what we are covering today is to initiate if there is an undeclared agenda that you have with money. Perhaps even start having a better relationship with money and leveraging it. We'll talk more about these two things as we deep dive into the subject. But right now, I'd like you to do a small poll. If you can please put on the chat window below you, Are we using money, or is money using us? Are we using money, or do you think money is using us?
What does that mean, money using us?
Doesn't matter.
Meaning,
Whatever it means for you in your world, Yolanda. I'd like all of you to please participate in this poll by typing in the chat window, is money using us, do you think? And or are we using money? Alicia, you are so funny. Many using it better than I. How do you know that? Do you have any evidence for that? The concept of money.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The concept of money can manipulate our behavior. Very true, Michelle. Thank you for sharing that. I'm using money. All right, Adrian, of course you're using money. Lillian, I think is using me, honestly. Oh, that's a brave one there. We are using each other. Tian Tian, nice. It's using me a bit too. Sarah, it's using me. All right. How? Okay, I use money. Money is consuming me. Ashran, I know what you're talking about. Danny, Sarah, I'm using it too. All right, so it seems that people generally feel that they are using money and money is using them as well. And we got to come to the relationship where money stops using us, manipulating us, driving us, and we start really using money. But how are we going to do that? We connected the dots ourselves for some reason. It's like if I expect my television in my living room to drive me to Sichuan, it's not going to be able to do it. It's going to break my expectation because my expectation from the television is ill-founded. Similarly, money never promised you happiness and it's never going to be able to deliver happiness. People are living in this belief that when I have more money, I will be happy. And they're disappointed because money never promised you happiness. You can have as much money as you want, and it may or may not lead to happiness. Happiness is not connected with money. Happiness is a state of mind. But I really invite all of you to discuss with me that how do we, most of us, connect happiness with money? Is there some kind of a mind map we have that we connect money and happiness? And what are the possible reasons we do that? Perhaps Yolanda or Darko?
I
Anybody
connected
like?
maybe with carefreeness, but not with happiness.
Yes, carefreeness, comfort. Go on, Adrian.
Well, hey, I see a lot of my clients and also myself, you know, we often delay. We say we'll delay happiness until. Now, where I live is flat. There's a hill, and the houses on the hill are the rich houses. And I kind of said, well, I will delay happiness until I buy a house on the hill. And I might not buy that house until I'm 50. So I'll delay happiness until I buy that. Maybe that's not so healthy.
Yes, that's not healthy at all because you're living in the future. You can be happy now. It has nothing to do with money. But the second thing that we often don't do, and I'd like to do a lot with myself, when I make these small wins and successes, that I pay myself first. Nobody's going to pay me if I don't pay myself first. Whether it comes to pampering myself with a spa, or it's something that I really want to buy, or even perhaps investing in myself, I really believe in paying myself first. You have to pay yourself first. And there are many ways to pay yourself first. You know, if you're a businessman, make sure that you don't plow all your money back into the business and that you take out your salary. If you are employed or a freelancer, make sure that whatever money you make, there is some part of it that goes into pampering you, your body, and your soul, because that's all you really have. If your body, mind, and soul is not pampered and positive, it's not going to be able to perform. And if that's not going to perform, nothing else is going to work out. So make sure that you pay yourself first. And as well as, let me tell you a story that you might have heard before, and it's quite a popular story about two woodcutters. There was this woodcutter that wanted to cut more wood, but he tried hard and worked overtime, but there was only so much wood he would cut. And then he saw that there was this other woodcutter would every now and then would stop to sharpen his axe. And eventually he saw that the one that was stopping to sharpen his axe was the one who got more wood cut. When did you sharpen your axe? When was the last time you sharpened your axe?
As simple as that sounds, we see so many people chopping wood hard, going so hard. They say, I have no time to stop and sharpen the axe. I can't afford to sharpen the axe. Or I don't have time to sharpen the axe, yet chop.
What does it mean? What does it mean to sharpen the axe in life? It means to take a break from your job to reach out. What does it mean?
Yesterday I went to the Christmas market and I had 2 mulled wine. That was so nice. My axe was sharp.
Belinda, if somebody would like to jump in, one of our coaches here, probably Lara or somebody who can jump in and explain to Sarah what probably I mean by sharpening the axe. Anybody? Jay from Australia? Stop raping our team, okay?
Yes, if you'd like. Sorry, good evening. What it means is that you've got to make sure you have the best resources and the best tools. If you don't look after yourself and you're the major resource first, then you're not going to perform to the peak of your ability. So you must always make sure as a human being, you look after your body, your mind first so that you can perform.
If you
I get it. I understand.
And also, Alicia, you want to share something?
I can give an example. So for example, if you don't get enough sleep and you don't eat in the morning and you have a coaching session, it may take you an hour to cognitively be able to get your client where they want to go. Whereas if you slept and ate and you were optimum, you might be able to get them there in a half hour. So sharpening your tool would have been getting the sleep and the breakfast. That's all.
Adrian, one of the ways to more new skills. Would new skills would also be sharpening your axe? What would you
Taking
think?
time out to get new skills. And I don't know if you guys heard what Yolanda said the first time, but Yolanda said taking time out at the markets and having 2 mull wines. I mean, some people might say, but mull wine isn't good for you, but she feels good having it. So maybe taking some time out. You felt good after having the mull wine, Yolanda? Yeah.
I see.
Maybe take some time out.
Can I have the slide about how? So look at this third thing, okay? This is the other important thing, that is, we get confused between money is only the measure. The game is life itself. You know, this is so, people get confused between the measure and the game. Money is not the game. Money is the measure. And the game is life itself, living life today. You know, that is the game. And this false sense of owning things. I own this car, I own this property, I own this investment. Please, you just have a right to use it till you die. 30 seconds or 60 seconds, you don't breathe, you're dead. People have regret about their money and what they could have done with it and what they didn't do with it. And yet people go on collecting more money, as if more money will make them more happy. Money is only the measure. The game is life itself. We are going
So many people lose track of that. So many people lose track of that. If they have money, they often end up in the game, and they mistake money for the game, and they end up really there. And then some people don't go near it whatsoever.
So we are going to cover all of this. Before the deep dive, I'd like you to Google a few things. Adrian, if I can have the Google slide. These are things, these are hard techniques on making money, leveraging money. We are not going to cover these today. You are free to Google it. You're free to visit my blog, www.tapangadodia.com, where I cover all of this. Delayed gratification and saving, the magical power of compounding of money, why buying a life insurance is a bad idea, direct equity over mutual fund, is stock market really risky, is it volatile? The stock market is volatile to people. For me, it's a straight line going up. It's the nature of the market to go up and down. And we have to ignore that. We have to move back, zoom out and look at the stock market. It's a straight line up. But anyway, this is not what we are going to cover today. So let's straight jump into, before the deep dive, any questions? Feel free to type your question in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask anything before the deep dive.
I don't know if it will be related, but I think already some of you know me, so that's why I don't care so much about money. So, but the thing is okay, it does accumulate, it does collect itself without me really chasing it. So, but still it collects. And so what I think is very valuable is a reminder for what you have the money, and that it is about spending it for yourself. And not just okay, it comes somehow and just ending up on your account. And so, yeah, that was a good reminder.
Yes, that's wonderful. If we don't have, it seems this room is quite clear about money. If anybody has a question, feel free to jump in, or we move ahead. What do you think, Adrian?
Yeah, we will jump in, but just a second, guys.
Okay.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, Lillian, go on.
Yes, no, I'm going back to the issue of sharpening your skills and all that. I'm saying, it's not always easy to, to spend money on yourself, especially when you are faced with so many responsibilities and so many things keep coming up. In my case, I always save, but major things always come up, they take it, and I don't have that luxury of pampering myself with the money. So I was just commenting on the issue of money, using money at times to put yourself first with your money.
Right on, Lillian, right on. And I'm just going to reiterate this last slide you shared, Tapan. I took a photograph of it. Guys, so we're not going to go into detail on these topics, but Tapan suggests Googling it. These topics of delayed gratification, compounding, and that, these are very valuable topics for you to look at later. So if you haven't taken a photograph of that, consider looking them all up later. They're all equally powerful. Okay, Tapan.
Thank you. Lillian, to answer your question, I can really feel what you're talking about. I have been there. I was on the street of Shenzhen with, forget money, I had huge liabilities. If you don't feed yourself first, you're not going to be able to survive. You got to pay yourself first. Even if it's a little amount of money, you got to feed yourself first. You got to pay yourself first. Just like you asked this question, I have been receiving a lot of requests about people who need mentoring about money. And we probably roll out a 8-week program in which I will mentor people take live examples, work with them about money and show them, how to pay themselves first. Remember, even in an aeroplane, when the air pressure drops and the masks come down, what do they announce? Please put on your mask first before helping the children or other people. So please, when you are talking about money, make sure you put on your mask first. But anyway, more of that. If there are no other questions, Adrian, perhaps we can jump into money.
Why? Is money important?
Of course, money is important, period. I don't even want to discuss this. Who wants to discuss is money important? Of course, money is important. Money is the generally accepted and recognized centralized medium of exchange in an economy that is used to facilitate transactional trade for goods and services. We need money to transact. I'm not going to talk about whether money is important or not. This is a no-brainer. Of course, money is important, and I like to have more money. So I'm just going to jump straight into, should money be used or money should be hoarded? A lot of us believe that the more money we have in an apartment, the more money we have in a bank, the more money we have in gold, the more money we have in equity, the better we are. Let me tell you, share a little secret with you. The statistics says that 70% of the money that we are going to earn, we are going to leave it behind in this world. 70% of the money, all the hard work you're doing right now, if you're making $1,000, $700 you're not going to be able to use. Pretty low efficiency. Google it. Because we are uncertain about when we are going to die. So we are unable to plan accurately and to use our money. And yet we go on collecting more money and compounding money and generating more money and working hard. There's this story about, some of you might have heard, Alexander the Great. He was a great conqueror, died at young age. He wrote in his will, "When you take me out on my funeral procession, my last procession, let my hand stick out of the coffin." And he said, let people see. Even the great Alexander, when he died, his hands were empty. He could take nothing with him. Why are we hoarding money? Why are we not using the money? 30 seconds, 60 seconds, you stop breathing. Life ends right now. What are you waiting for? Unless some of you know the future. I certainly don't know. So please, stop hoarding money. Remember, the quality of money is more important than the quantity of money. There was a survey done in United States with 724 men. Apologies to the women. This particular survey was not done by me. It was done by somebody, 724 men, over 75 years. And they found that the people who had good quality relationships with friends and family and community at large lived longer and happier. It wasn't the ones who had more friends. And the same is true for money. It's the quality of money and not the quantity of money. The same is true for life. It's the quality of the life, the years that you have, not the years in your life, but the quality of the years. So as we believe more and more about quality over quantity, we sometimes don't really understand what quality over quantity means, but then we are going to deal with it slightly later in this event. Right now, I'd like to know if anybody on this group, men or women, play golf or any sport. Perhaps those who play golf can relate to this a little bit better, because I'm going to share with you, when I'm in this golf course and I see a, say, 300-yard for pin, and I want to reach that 300-yard pin, and I hit really hard. And I actually don't end up getting any distance. And sometimes there is a little pond, which is in hazard, about 100 meters away. And even if I hit a bad shot, I'm going to be 150 meters over that pond. And yet, when I see that pond, I hit that ball right into the pond. Adrian is smiling because I think he's hit quite a few balls into that hazard. So what happens there? What happens there is that we lose our temperament, and we start using a brute force to work harder, longer, more hours, and forcefully, and we are going to get better results. And yet, anybody who plays golf knows that the more relaxed you are in your mind and body, you're breathing correctly, physiology, psychology, relaxed, and you use the technique and you hit the ball goes 200 yards. Everybody here knows that by working harder, 40 hours a week, 80 hours a week, you're not going to make more money. It's the quality of your work. It's not the quantity. Even a worker works for $10 an hour and works more hours and has no time to breathe. That's not how they impact the world. When you impact the world positively, that's when the world pays you back in a currency called money. How do you impact the world positively with greater impact is by the quality of your work, not more hours. I seldom work more than 4 or 5 hours a day. I always knew it. If I work hard, I can never pay back these millions that I owe to the bank. I have to work smart. And that's what I did. So when I talk about quality over quantity, even the president of leading nations in the world just have 24 hours in the day, just like you have. They don't have extra time. And in that 24 hours, these business tycoons are able to impact the whole world. You have the same number of hours. Nobody can increase the number of hours for anybody, no matter how rich or powerful they are. How do you use your 8 hours of work?
So trying to squeeze an extra hour or two of work into the day doesn't really create much, but trying to get a higher quality of work within the day is when we start to get really great growth or quantum growth. It's not by trying to squeeze out an extra couple of hours a day. It might be trying to squeeze out a few extra percentage in your efficiency or your effectiveness, or a few extra percent in the quality.
That's correct. And if my friend Chris, my coach and mentor Chris was here, he always talks about process. He loves talking about process. And that brings me to another small story. There was this village that had shortage of water. People didn't have drinking water. People didn't have water for washing. There was not enough water. So the leaders of the village got people together and said, listen, we need to deal with this problem, and we are going to have a tender. And we are going to give this job to bring water to this village to 2 successful bidders, the 2 highest bidders. As it happened, there was this gentleman who won the bid, and he started carrying buckets of water from a nearby village. There was a well outside the village, and he would carry the buckets of water from there and sell it for a good price. Business was good, and he had more buckets of water to carry than he could himself. So he got his brother and his wife and his sister and the sister's husband, and everybody was carrying buckets of water. And when he was sitting in the evening, thinking to himself, he had a smirk on his face. Oh, I'm so happy. Business is good. If I keep working like this, if I work harder, I'm going to make more money. It so happens that he doesn't, and nobody else misses the other guy, the other successful bidder. Life goes on. This gentleman is extremely tired. His family is tired. His friends are tired. Everybody's tired carrying buckets of water. Suddenly there's a big murmur. There's a news and said, do you know what? The second bidder is just outside the village. He's been creating a pipeline from another source of water, and he's been working to the village, and he's probably going to reach the village next week. Next week comes, and the water pipeline reaches the village. This man who worked hard at creating the pipeline, the process, now just opens the tap and fills buckets of water and gives to people, which they carry themselves. And he can do it at a price, a fraction of the first bidder. Any guesses what happens to the first bidder? He goes out of business. Are you carrying buckets of water? Or are you building pipelines of money coming into your bank account? Are you carrying buckets of water? Or are you building pipelines of money coming into your bank account? Are you carrying buckets of water? Anyway, we will have an exercise on that a little later. Right now, I'd like to jump into another thing about relationship with money. This is a mistake I made, and this is a mistake I corrected, and that greatly changed the way I looked at money. Nobody kills the egg, the chicken that lays the golden egg, the proverbial chicken. I was the one who was cutting the chicken that was laying the golden eggs until I realized what I was doing. I used to run a company. I had made some money. I had invested in stocks. I had bought some properties. Life was good. But I knew there was a mistake. My company was then called Winner International Hong Kong Limited. And it costed me a lot of money, and I had to do a lot of process, but I added an S. It later became Winners International Hong Kong Limited. And just for adding the S, I paid thousands of dollars, because the process is the same whether you change the whole name or just one alphabet. But then when I added that S, it meant everybody wins, not only me. And when you can let everybody win, you're definitely going to win. If your suppliers, your employees, your boss, your company, your customers win, guess who's going to win? So I made one of this relationship with money is, how about we let others win? How about we work with quality and let others win and win and win? And guess what? We will win. Because nobody can take away what we contribute to society. It has to come back to us in form of money, power, or success. It has to. Once you get the right attitude with money about winning, I'd like to leverage money to make more money. And I leverage money with OPT and OPM, something I borrowed from Robert Kiyosaki, a person who inspired me a lot. I read a lot of his books. I doubt if anybody really implemented everything that he wrote in his books as well as I did. And he talked about OPT and OPM. Leveraging on other people's time and other people's money. You cannot earn as much money if you keep on working for 100 hours a week. You've got to leverage other people's time and other people's money. Leveraging. How do we leverage, Adrian? How do we leverage other people's time?
Well, I was about to point out as well, guys, it's not like we're going to leverage someone's time and they're actually going to go down. It's not like we're leveraging and making the other person suffer. Now, perhaps we think of a lever like this, like I used to, but that's not the way we do it, is it? We leverage other people's time and other people's money, and that's the way it was spoken about by Robert Kiyosaki. But perhaps a way I would change it, and I'm sure Tapan actually does this with your one-to-one work, but I would say collaborating with other people's time, collaborating with other people's money. I have an excellent team. You know, I've got some excellent coaches, excellent assistants that work for me. So I'm using their time. And by paying them, they're happy, and I pay them this much per hour, and my hourly rate or my monthly rate's this much. So I can leverage their time, but I can also leverage their money. But I wouldn't leverage the money of my staff because my staff don't have a lot of money. But I have a client, and I'm sure Tapan, if you've got some big client who makes millions of dollars, well, we could take a small fee of their money, and then we can give them our time. So for the coaches in the house, we can use other people's money that have more money. More collaborating.
Thank you. You know, this is a topic if we could spend a whole day talking about OPM. You know, I just leave you with one thought about OPM. Are you the one that invests in other companies' stocks, or are you creating that company that people buy stocks of? Can you earn more money? Can you create a bigger business than you can think about? Can you reach further than you ever imagined? Does the thought come first, or does the action come first? When I was sitting in the street of Shenzhen in 2002 on that cold night, I imagined that I was living by the river in a big city with skyscrapers on the waterfront, driving a red color sports convertible, whatever. Could I go beyond that? I could never go beyond that. That's where I stayed, because that's what I imagined. And you are going to be what you are imagining for yourself right now. So please, it doesn't cost you money to imagine. Please have a big dream. Once the dream is there, then you get the goals and the actions today. If you don't have a dream, if you're living in survival mode, it's not going to happen. It didn't happen for me beyond this level. I couldn't take it to the next level. Do I plan to take it to the next level? Yes. Now I'm actually working on my next dream. But I know one thing for sure. What you cannot think about, you cannot achieve. Anybody wants to jump in? Yes, Yolanda.
Why is there seemingly just two things? You're rather like rich, or you're in survival mode. This is what is like, I feel so, it's like, why is it that people think like, okay, I'm only surviving while they're actually quite well, or I want to be more. It's just like two extremes, so polarized. So I wonder, what's your take on that?
That brings me to the very first slide, you know, and I asked, do people want more money? Do they like more money or not? If you are one of those people who doesn't like more money, it doesn't apply. Want more money.
That doesn't automatically mean that I'm in survival only.
Oh, no. I didn't mean to say that you were in survival mode. No. I'm sorry if that came across as that. I was actually talking about myself. The guy in 2002 in Shenzhen.
No. I mean, yeah, okay. Okay, so you had yourself figure like about being in survival. You mean that not as a generalized thing in people?
No, I am saying that this is what I was and this is where I reached. And I cannot go beyond this because I didn't imagine beyond this.
Yes, I understand.
So each one of us, you're here, or here. It's decided by you. It's a thought that you have, a plan for yourself. There's no standard plan for everything.
But it takes time to make a plan for ourselves. It often takes time and energy to take a look at ourselves, or perhaps it's a bit hard to mentor or coach yourself. And a lot of people they say they can't afford that, they don't afford that, or they delay it because they don't. And a lot of people will say, oh, I'm too busy working to imagine. Tapan, I can't imagine a wonderful future. I can't imagine a successful company. I don't have the time. So they stay where they are because they don't invest the time in dreaming. They don't invest the time in growing themselves. They don't invest the time in maybe writing out their dream and putting it on the wall. And you know what? It doesn't actually cost anything to write out goals and put them on the wall, but it costs time and energy. And a lot of people will say, oh, I won't do that because I don't have time, or I won't do that because of Netflix. So essentially, they're not investing in themselves.
Thank you, Adrian. I like the word investing because that's the next thing I'm going to talk about. Investing in yourself. It was the beginning of 2020 and I was stuck in my apartment, a really tiny apartment in Calcutta, India. And I started investing in myself. I started redesigning, with the help of some professional coaches, which of the beliefs and values which I wanted to keep, and which were the ones I wanted to remove. And as I worked on my identity, something really interesting happened. I changed as a person. When I invested with these professional coaches to work on areas that I was not an expert on, I decided things would change, and things changed a lot. So when you become a coach, not only do you coach others, you get the skill to coach yourself. Adrian, you're dying to say something. Go ahead and say it.
Mate, that's one thing I admire about you. You went full ball. You went like 100%. You spoke, you clarified some things, and then you're like, you're already doing coaching and mentoring, but you're like, you know what, I've got to step it up. And then you joined the full course that we were doing, and you hopped on, you invested in the second course as well. And I know you've done more training with Jedi as well. So you've gone hard in investing your time and energy. But for yourself, I imagine the investment would have actually been more so the time and focus in putting your shift into learning all the skills to help you get clients, results quicker. So I'm just smiling because you went hard in that. I'm an NLP trainer, right? But I remember going to a master practitioner back in 2014, and I was hesitating. I was really hesitating. I had 2 or 3 houses in my name, but it was like 30,000 RMB or something for the training, and I was hesitating. I was like hoarding it. I was hoarding my money. I didn't want to invest in the master practitioner training. I was hoarding it. But ever since then, I've just been like, no problem, because I know I get the return so fast. But yeah, I'm totally guilty of hoarding it and not investing in myself. Guilty as charged.
So investing in soft skills, investing in emotional skills, investing in hard skills, technical skills. I think even when I learned scuba diving, I grew as a person. Even when I jumped off an aeroplane, I learned something. It's always, whenever you pick up a skill, it changes your world, or at least it shifts your world a little bit. So I'm a very big supporter of investing in yourself, paying yourself first, and also supporting yourself, pampering yourself and growing your skills. This is something very, very important. And this is where I'd like to invite all of you to brainstorm a little bit with me about where you are in your relationship with money and where would you like to be in relationship to money.
Oh, hey, Tapan, just before you go into that, Tapan, there's a message in the chat window. Some person wrote a question in the chat window. Does a family holiday count as an investment?
Of course, that's the best investment. That's the kind of investment I like to do.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the answer to that question of that gentleman.
Anybody, anything that you enjoy doing, and which, I mean, if you do a family holiday, you're investing in everybody. You're investing in relationship, you're investing in yourself, oh, it's amazing. Family holiday sounds good.
Okay, so I just had it up there. Everyone should see it. I'll put the question in the window as well. So we're going to go in a breakout room, Tapan, 3 people per room, okay, or 2, 3?
Because, you know, we can't all brainstorm here. I'd like to break into smaller breakout rooms for 15 minutes, 5 minutes per person, where each one gets 5 minutes and they talk about what is their current relationship with money and what have they learned in this 1 hour, in how is it going to change their relationship with money going forward. Okay, I'm going to be jumping around in the rooms, Adrian and me, and see what's going on, but feel free, 5 minutes each. And perhaps, one of you could ask the questions about just 2 questions. What is your current relationship with money? And the second question is, what kind of relationship do you want to have with money going forward post this session? Okay, we will see each other in 15 minutes right here, where we are going to brainstorm a little bit more about money. So Adrian, do me the honors, please break all of us out.
Everyone's on the way back, by the way. That's great.
Everybody's back. Okay, welcome back.
Well,
and Johnny, good to see your camera on.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd like to share first?
I will. I'll just say that it's always awesome working with Johnny, because he and I, we think so differently, but there's always like a good synergy. I love working with him. And it was interesting because he was talking about how our past experiences bring up sensitivity, and how he called sensitivity a heavy tool. I loved that. So I wrote that down. And that really helps us as we're moving forward to how we deal with money and react with it. Sensitivity. I like that.
It's absolutely wonderful working with Johnny. Johnny and me, Johnny actually worked with me about money, and I'm happy to share that it took him like exactly 30 seconds. And he said, your problem in life, Tapan, is that you have money. Just give me all your money and you will have no problem. At that moment, I got correct.
Brilliant.
I love it. I'll share, Tapan. I just realized a little bit where my negativity in money in these last couple of years has come from, is because having gone through 2 divorces, every time I accumulate, get myself in a reasonable position, not overly affluent, I end up losing a lot of it to giving it away. That's how I'm feeling. Whether it's true or not, I will investigate and look at that. But that's one of the things I just discovered from this discussion. Oh, we lost Tapan.
You see me. I'd like to invite you that perhaps you made a big difference to the life of those two women. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I did. That's right.
You know, let others win. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that idea in my view.
Yeah,
You know, just change that negative view you have about money.
No, I think that's happened in recent times with some discussions with you and some others within the coaching. So yeah.
You might
But I
also
feel like,
speak about
wow.
that outdated concept, you have to marry. No, but that's another.
No, Yolanda, we can discuss that. It's fine. It's related to money.
Yeah, it's called a prenup. No, I'm just
Well, we often think that the money stuff is outside of our control. But it's actually, well, that relationship, the relationship we have with money, not money directly, but our relationship with money is totally within our control. We don't always know how. We don't always know how. And getting that how from a book, by the time you open the book, you get lost in it. So I'm a big fan of talking to someone like Tapan or one of the coaches because they know the how to change those relationships. Mullwine, I mean, Yolanda, yes.
Mullwine.
Can we first talk about what we are anchoring? Okay. Actually, what I thought it's interesting, and I really need to, because for me, money is also connected with expectation. Expectation I have towards myself when I would have money that I don't know, I feel I would need to support my family, which doesn't have money. And so basically, when I see the money, when I see myself with money, I see already that the money won't be there, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so there's a lot of shame and guilt, like guilt connected to having more money or doing pleasureful things, because then I would be better off than my family. And who am I to be better off than my family? You know? So, which has a bit to do with deserving, of course, but the deserving in a connection or comparison to my family and not like in a connection towards myself, basically. So this is very interesting, and I have not really, I have placed it on the side a little bit because I'm doing more and more things for myself. For example, buying myself 2 mulled wines on a Christmas market. No, but even much more things, of course. But then the thing is still like, okay, yes. So how can I live actually that I might earn double, or I live in a beautiful house while my mother is living in social care or something like that? It's like how can I live with this extreme dot.
Can I add something here?
Your question that which level are you operating out of right now in your identity? Is it at your value or your belief level? I know you are a successful coach in Shanghai. So right now, as you say that, where is that values coming from? Is it societal values that you've inherited, or are they your own values?
It's both voices. It's both voices. Yes, it is. I hear the voice from society telling me, it's like, how can you live this way while your mother or whatever is so miserable? Especially because I'm also artist, and as more like I would actually lift up and go up as artist, as coach, and so on, as more successful and as more outside I would be there, as more I'm actually afraid of that part of my family coming into attention, and then I will be like having difficulties to, while I'm totally fine accepting that she has her, or my family members, they have their journey and it's supposed to be their journey, and that has nothing to do with me. So I know that, yeah, but it's, yeah, I guess it's internally and externally.
Thank you, Yolanda. You know, this, what I'm hearing from you is that there is a new awareness about your feelings towards this topic. And I think that's wonderful if we can do that, create more awareness in 60 minutes or 90 minutes. That's wonderful. I'd like to jump on to Johnny. Johnny, you wanted to say something?
Yes, actually, you know, so many people, they are looking at money as a goal, and actually money is just a means. And I just referred to our conversation, which was really interesting. You are so successful in accumulating money, and I remember you were explaining this. And actually, when money becomes a goal as such, and you forget actually what is the means, that it is just a means to reach something else, like a successful life, then money can actually become a burden. And I remember it was so weird to see somebody would have so much money being worried and having pressure because of thinking, how do I protect my money? How do I make more money? Right? So that one question, which kind of changed your perception, just give it away, and then you no longer have this problem of protecting it. Your eyes changed, which was quite interesting. But in general, this is something for people that they often forget. What is it that they try to achieve? And that outcome, money is just a means for that. And if you have KPI, you can turn money into a KPI, but it should not become the money as such, but the outcome, what you're actually trying to achieve with it. Then it becomes much, much easier, actually much more attractive. That's why I always notice.
Thank you, Johnny. In fact, I'm going to share the PowerPoint slide presentation because you jumped in like pretty late. So all the things that you just spoke about actually got covered in one way or the other in the event. So I'm going to share with you the PowerPoint, and then we can work on this one-to-one. Any other questions before we wrap up this lovely evening?
Yes, Tapan. I don't know if I said this before, but I often ask people when they're coming on, are you able to give these beautiful people here, these beautiful people right in front of them, are you able to give them a little free time or a little consultation or something? Your book, has your book come out?
Not yet, Adrian. I keep writing it and rewriting it. Events like this take me forward because I get real life feedback. That will come out soon, but I think I can, if for the first 10 people who write to me about where they are with money and where would they like to be, if I get a detailed reply, I can give them an hour of free mentoring on money. Everybody's case is different. Everybody's priorities are different with money. So I can do that in an open forum, but on a one-to-one basis, anything that you want to work with, cash flows, what should I do? There was a question, I think it was Tien or somebody that said that, how do we get, we don't have enough money for spending on investing in our skills or pampering ourselves. So those are cash flow issues. We have to really go down to your specific case and work. So I'm happy to offer that, Adrian.
Yeah, thank you very much. Because what most people actually need isn't the funds. What most people need is to take the time out and take a look. I hear all the time people saying they can't invest. And it's like, hang on, do you know how much? Yeah. It's like, no, I hear all the stories in the way. So if it doesn't cost for a consultation, then there's no cost in a consultation. And from there, I'm sure you can even make suggestions for them if they don't have much money.
Totally. I've been there when I didn't have enough money. So I think I have some idea about how to consult with them. Yeah, sure, for sure. Okay, that leaves us the last few minutes. And I'd like to invite Izang to share what she did in her breakout room.
Okay, thank you for picking me. My current relationship with money is, I think money for me is a security, a certainty in future. So I do save money, amount of money. I still think money is hard to learn, hard to earn. That's why I keep focused on saving money instead of making more money. And that makes me feel more about money is difficult to earn. In future, I would like to have this concept, like really own that concept of the abundancy, that money is alive when it flows. When we spend, we earn. We spend more, we earn more. Well, that's a balance. It's not like we spend a lot. We still need to keep, but it's a cycle. We spend so that we earn. We spend on other people earn, and they spend, and then we earn. I know that concept, I know it's right, but I still don't have the feeling to own that concept. So I want to have that mindset, really own it.
Yes. In fact, let me share, there's a guru in India called Osho, Rajneesh. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I love him.
You love him, right? He talks about money. And he said there are 3 people in a room. Each of them have $10. How much money is in the room? And the answer is $30. And he says, now each one gives the $10 that they have to the guy on the right. So now everybody gave away $10 and everybody has $10. So how much money is in the economy of this room now?
$30?
$60, because 10 that you gave away and 10 that you have. And now 3 people did that, so it's $60. So basically, the more the money moves around, the more the money circulates, that there's more abundance. It's the opposite of hoarding. Not to say that saving money is bad. We got to understand the difference in the two.
I could be totally wrong, but that's why I invest in a pile of gold mines, but I don't buy gold. And I could be totally wrong there, but I don't see point in having gold bars, but gold shares.
Totally. And in fact, a lot of people ask me, but the Bitcoin is the new gold.
And you're able to do that with WeChat money as well. But now I just want one thing fun for E here. We can't really buy magic bullets. There was a gentleman who spoke once about magic bullets, and he said a lot of people today are buying magic bullets, and they might end up buying a magic pill. So there's a pill that makes your hair grow, so people have the pill. And there's actually a pill for men to help their hair grow. So the men were having the pill to help their hair grow, but they're getting impotent somewhere else. So don't be a bit of a sucker for, you can buy a book on how to be a millionaire, but you have to take the action still.
And on that note, please invest on yourself, pamper yourself, pay yourself first. That is the real central message to this evening. And with permission of Adrian, officially, I'd like to close this session exactly 90 minutes, what I promised. We will be here, Adrian and me, to chit chat for another few minutes, but feel free, anybody wants to leave, the session is now officially over.